What happens when you take two guys from New York who absolutely love to talk and give them a license to rant? You get your hosts, John Peasy and Mikey Sausage.
Oh, we got a little fade going now. You took that black coat off. Thank God.
I took it off. I'm freezing. I'm sitting here like, it's really cold, and I know as soon it's going to be even colder because where my studio gets the most air conditioning. So it's kind of chilly. How you doing, Mr. Sausage?
You're mining all that Bitcoin, and I got to keep the.
No, the mining, the Bitcoin is in my office. And by the way, I could use that machine right between my legs right now, blowing all that heat at me because it's really cold.
Yes.
By the way,
mining
Bitcoin, but mining Bitcoin right. Thank you. Mining Bitcoin right now has been very profitable, hasn't it?
Yeah, all 0.64 that you mined over the last 8 years.
It's like $20 a day. It just sits there and then it keeps growing.
It's $20 more than you had the day before. That's how I.
But I'm not doing it. I'm not doing anything for it. It just sits there and runs all day. And at the end of the day, it's like, here you go. Here's $20. I'm like, I didn't do anything for it. It's not a bad deal. It's pretty cool.
It's good. $20 now. So when it's 300,000, it'll be $60.
And that's right. That's right. There you go. A day. But it's all good. Hey, by the way, people don't know, but we've been doing lots of shows, and this is one of the ones that I can't wait for. I say that about a lot of people, but I read this book cover to cover.
Yeah, and I know. Thank you.
This will fascinate you. This is like this lady. I don't know what to say.
I already got everything from you. There's drawings. I got scanned drawings. I got names. Yeah. I got everything.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's awesome.
So anyway, to bring it up, let me bring her up here because I want to get right to her and get as much time in with her as possible. And it's very late where she's living in Ireland and it's 2 a.m. in the morning. So she's not even sleepy. She's all cheery, which is amazing. Her name is Elena Danaan, and she is an author and a light worker, fully certified druid and celebrant. As a matter of fact, she's from the Order of Bards Ovates. I hope this, and druids. I hope I'm saying this correctly. She's an experienced shaman and channeler, and she helps people find their own power and reconnect their own spiritual path, guiding them through a life and facilitating their self-growth. As a star seed, her task is awakening to the true nature and power as well as the awareness of their own personal mission. So she helps people. More importantly than that, she's a great illustrator. I mean, when you see the drawings, I can't make a circle. This lady,
those drawings are hers? I didn't know that.
Yeah, her drawings are amazing, amazing. And please welcome, here she is, Elena Danaan. Thank you, Elena.
Thank you. Hi to everyone.
This is so cool. That's Mikey Sausage. I'm John Peasy, and this is a pleasure because I've been watching your YouTubes for the last couple of months, and she went from a small following to it's been growing rapidly, and her story is so fascinating. I'd like to start off with the beginning of where your story began. Now, in reading your book, I kind of know it, but it starts off with you as a young girl being abducted. Am I correct?
Yes. I was abducted many times in my life, and the most important was at the age of 9 years old, where I was abducted by malevolent small greys and rescued in the process of this abduction by Nordic aliens. And I kept contact with them all my life and to this day. So that's my story.
That's fascinating. And these, let me just ask you this question: these gray aliens that are, in your book, I believe you mentioned that you think they are like biological and mechanical on some level.
Yes, there was a difference. There was on this ship, there was a biological entity, a being, biological being, and he had helpers, I suppose, a crew of synthetic beings. They had barely an aura, and they were very robotic and emotionless, and you could really make the difference. These memories of what happened in that craft were wiped from my memory by my protectors, because I was only 9 and it was very traumatic. And these memories on board this craft have been retrieved recently, nearly 2 years ago now, by hypnosis. Yes.
Wow. Now, a lot of people they're not going to be familiar with this, and a lot of people, like we just spoken to someone earlier today. He didn't even believe in aliens at all, and yet you're factually stating that you were actually taken away from them many times, and this time they were actually trying to implant something into your brain before you were actually saved by, I understand, a Palladian named Thorian. Am I correct?
Yes. Thoran, yes.
And am I saying correct? Thoran?
In fact, it's Thorhan or Thorhan. It's difficult to pronounce.
Well, you could also call me Chahan. But the question would be then, this being saved and being able to communicate with another race. In your book, you show all of these wonderful illustrations of all these different aliens that are in our different galaxies. So apparently our galaxies are teeming with all kinds of entities of all kinds, and some are malevolent, yes. Some are not, and they have different paths in life, and and some of them, a lot of the good groups of people belong to something called the Galactic Federation. Could you tell us more about that?
There is indeed an amazing diversity of life in this galaxy, and others in the universe, in fact. Even in our solar system, I know that there are biological life forms on many planets of even our own system. Yes, so the Galactic Federation, it's one of the structures in this galaxy. So it's compound, it's a federation of different cultures. There's so many cultures that have reached a certain level of evolution, and this is based on not only technological evolution but as well consciousness. They need to reach a certain balance between consciousness and technology, that these cultures are not a threat to the peace of the galaxy, that they have reached a level of wisdom and reason that make of them culture, peaceful culture. So they join this galactic community, which they call, well, it is translated with our words by the Galactic Federation of Worlds. Of course, it's a translation the best we can. The way they name it, it has a beautiful name, Ora Nataru Shari, and Nataru, it's the galaxy. It's a beautiful name that I love. So these beings are dedicated to maintain balance and wisdom. Well, I'd say with wisdom, with good judgment. They have ethics, so they maintain balance and peace. Their most sacred ethic is the law of free will, that they will not intervene in the development and the choices of a species, a culture, unless this culture requests this help, because they are threatened by an outside threat. They do not interfere in private affairs of a culture. It's not their matter, their concern, but they will intervene if this culture is under the threat of another culture, not from this world, their world. Don't know if I'm clear. We need to request it, and they respect so this free will. And the Galactic Federation is a very benevolent and protective structure. they respect this law of free will. But the malevolent structures as well go by this law because it is a universal law. This is, well, I could talk about that for a very long time. So yes, so then in 1954, the Orion Group, the NEBU, the Alliance of the Six, which is a collective of grays from the area of Orion constellation, especially the two of the stars of the Orion belt, and Rigel and Betelgeuse, and the nebula as well, for a few spots in this constellation. So they did on Earth what they are doing on many other worlds. They send first small grays to deceive and tell, oh, we are poor, dying race, and we need fresh blood, genetics. We exchange technology. If you allow us to have a few humans, to just take genetics from them, genetic material. So that's what they've done, and they said they met with President Eisenhower and his entourage, notably the MJ-12 that was had been created a little bit before in the 1940s, and because there was already some contacts happening. But in 1954, they really pushed it because they couldn't attack and take the Earth for what they wanted by force. They could, they have, I always say they have the technology, these people, to throw this planet out of orbit like this. But why they don't do it? Because they would be in trouble with the Galactic Federation. So they do what they do on all the worlds. They conquer. They get the local population to agree to sign to be invaded. Then the Galactic Federation and other structures such as the Andromedan Council and such, they cannot do anything. The people of this planet, they have signed, they have agreed, they consented to be invaded. So at that time, the Galactic Federation said, okay, we are going to give these people, these poor people, the choice and warn them and give them the choice. So they contacted also Eisenhower. They sent a contingent of humanoids, people from the Galactic Federation who were looking like us, not to frighten us. And they met with President Eisenhower. He even went in their ship. And they warned him. They said, do not sign with these grays from Orion, please. And you're signing for your doom, etc. They are very deceitful. They're going to lie to you. They're offering you war technology. But in exchange, in counterpart, we are offering you technology, medical technology, free energy, technology that is going to help you evolve, and we are going to help you disarm all your weapons and get on with each other in peace. We will advise you, we will help you. This is our gift. It will save you. So, and you want nothing in exchange. And Eisenhower wanted to go with them because for many reasons. But the MJ-12 signed behind his back with the Greys because, peace and love and war technology in a period of Cold War with Russia. They took that. And in exchange...
Let me just interrupt you a second here, though. They're deceivers, is what you're saying, is that the gray aliens are utilizing our emotions in order to actually get us to behave in the way they want us to, because they need our approval in order to deceive us.
Yes.
Correct?
It's totally how
that's purely evil, by the way. That's evil.
Well, they're not nice. I warned you, they're not nice. They're not friends of humanity. Some of their races are very despicable, yeah.
Since there's these laws, is there anything against those galactic laws that you're not supposed to abduct people from this planet?
Yes, yes, they're not supposed to, but when the leaders of the people sign on behalf of humanity, we agree for you to take people and abduct people, it is officially agreed. So they are entitled to.
So you're saying that there's possibly somebody in our government that's giving them permission?
In
a
1950, long time ago.
DMJ-12, long time ago. The thing is that they did it on behalf of humanity. Humanity didn't know that. Nobody knew. And, you know, when we talk about disclosure, that is the real stuff, and that will never come out from the governments. They will never tell you what they've done. They will give you a little bit of films of UFOs, or, oh yes, the aliens are real and we've been working on crashes and retro engineering. Yeah, that's our disclosure. Oh no, that goes way behind that. That's nothing, you know. So
yeah, but like who speaks like in those years? Who speaks for the world? I mean, we're all different countries. You're from France, we're from America, people from China, Russia, Germany. So who gives them the outright to say, okay, you could take Americans, you could take Germans, you could take anybody from within our world? I don't. There's no world leader, right? So
that's the trick.
Go ahead.
Yes, that's the trick now, that we know now how to counteract this thing and get out of this. It's very easy. It's easier than we think, because we are ignorant. We've been maintaining ignorance. What it takes is for humanity to say, hey, I do not consent to these agreements with the Greys on my behalf. I never was okay for that. I do not consent. I'm a sovereign human being, and on behalf of humanity, I stand for myself, and I do not consent to be abducted. And nobody takes decision for me. You stand like this. Imagine all humanity standing like this. And this weight in the balance, this really is very important. And what I am told many times, and I'm not the only one to be told this thing, which is the following: request assistance to the benevolent galactic structures, such as the Galactic Federation or the Andromedan Council, for instance. Requesting assistance to the Galactic Federation is, okay, officially you ask assistance, as many people as possible. This suddenly rescind the agreements that have been made on your behalf. This is very important. You get out of the illusion, out of the mind tricks. The simple fact to ask assistance officially, standing there on your feet. The Galactic Federation, they have assisted us for a very long time, very long time. It's not the point that you request or not, they will keep on assisting us anyway. The point is to liberate yourself. When you request this as an equal, I've been told as well, not to really advise, not that the humans must not request on their knees. They are not don't let us not consider them like superior beings on our knees. It is still putting ourselves in a position of a slave. No, let us consider ourselves as their equals. That is the only way that we will reach their level and who we truly are. We are way more powerful than we have been conditioned to believe. Our invaders, they know that. If we don't know who we are, they know who we are. And we've been maintaining ignorance and abused so badly, so badly. Now the governments are frightened of them. They are scared because they're really, technologically, they can crush us like this. Some races of greys, I'm not talking about the reptilians, it's something as well. Some races of greys are really, really, really bad, really nasty, really nasty.
So basically, we're very far behind the good ones and the bad ones, and so basically we have good, I don't know, aliens that are keeping them in line, helping us survive. Then, so without them, we would be wiped, done, right?
Oh yes, if the Galactic Federation wasn't around, there will be no more humanity. We will, the few of us left would be slave workers, zombies, like, assimilated, like the Borgs in Star Trek.
Yeah.
The same thing.
So these malevolent beings, what do they need something from us? Do they not like us? Because you said they look of us like of this poor race or poor humanity or whatever we are. And so do they just want to get rid of us because we're just, I don't know, for lack of a better word, not as intelligent or technologically advanced as them? Or
they want to use us as a currency. They want to use our genetic material to breed armies of super beings, basically. They are selling us, trading us for different things, such as food for the reptiloid species, slave force for many other species as well. We are currency for them.
Wow, currency is a bad word to say. When you say currency, we're like fiat. That means that we're moving. When you say, and also you mentioned that they use us to transfer. Are we actual physical food for the reptilians?
Yes, this is a very difficult thing to say. I've been sick when I've heard these stories. I mean, that I needed to know that. Yes, this is very difficult to hear, but there are some reptilian species, and many have outposts on our planet and in our system, especially on our planet. They eat us. They eat us.
So we are like we are farmed the way we farm a cow. We farm cows and chickens and things, and we trade them here as currency for money, and then eat them. And we are no different than we are just another product to some other species. And that is really disturbing to hear, and it makes you think about what we do as humans to animals. I mean, it's really a hierarchy of who's at the top. Well, so we're not at the top of the food chain.
Peasy, if that don't make you go on a diet, nothing will.
It's
no,
disturbing,
but don't worry.
This
is disturbing, but this is about to end. This is the end of it. Honestly, this is the end of it.
Elena, what will those reptilians eat when this ends? What will they be getting? Will they be getting protein packs made out of beans? I mean, what will they be eating then?
They go somewhere else. The problem is they are so powerful. It's an empire, in fact, a very powerful empire. They cannot be beaten. Nobody can beat them. So we can just they can just push them away. They've been thrown into this dimension by other people who want to get rid of them. And now we are looking for getting rid of them, throwing them in another dimension. That's the only thing we can do, because they're just a plague. It's horrible. At least the Orion people, the Alliance of Orion, they stay in one place, but the reptilians, they want the whole lot, the whole galaxy. The Orion group, they make their little business.
Can you explain then, how does this relate to religion? Because when you say that we should not be on our knees asking the Federation for help, that we should be sovereign and saying, looking up for help, they're there to help us. That's great to hear. But it also sounds almost like religion, where you're praying to God for help. Because most people believe in a religion, and they pray to their God, if you will, to get things in their life, which almost seems ridiculous on some level, that you constantly saying, I'll be good if you do this for me, like there's somebody tallying this all up. But in the event that you're asking for help and they give you this help, where is there a hierarchy above that, a God above them? Is there a creator that, like you said, that threw those reptilians into this dimension? Is there something above, beyond that? Or are we look, in other words, because if you look at us on this planet, we're physical beings trapped in a human body, a spiritual being in a body. And then there's ethereal beings, and there's beings that are living in other planets and galaxies. Okay, great. Well, is the chicken and the egg? Where does it begin? In your opinion?
And it is just my opinion. When you kneel, you give your power away, and we are very powerful beings. We can pray on our feet standing up. What now? These beings at the time, sorry for my English, I'm French and I sometimes difficulty to find my words. At the moment, we reach a certain openness of consciousness. At the moment we reach a certain state of awareness. We think differently. We see ourselves differently regarding to our place in the universe. And we understand that we are part of everything, and everything is part of us, and we are interconnected with everything. These beings do not have gods or religion systems. They have political structures, but they do not have religion. They have, though, beliefs in principles such as the law of free will. For them, it's a natural, universal law, for instance. And as something more spiritual, they believe, but it is spiritual / science fact for them. I'm speaking with their point of view now. They believe in something they call source or creation races. This is a consciousness, a supra-consciousness that is at the origin of all the dimensions and the universes. It's like a central sun or central consciousness, and this is what creates everything, and it is a generator of energy, of consciousness. It's like energy / consciousness. There are words that, and I don't think it's my bad English, it's just that we don't have these words to mix religion, science, or to mix consciousness, energy, so things like that. It's concepts. Source powers everything, and the energy created from source, it's a force. It's they call it frill. It's a life force, but it's in the same time consciousness. It is,
spell the frill. How's that spell? It's not VRIL, rill, right? From the old.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And in German, when there's a V in the first letter, it's pronounced F anyway. So frill. That's how I hear it.
See, now the Vril, VRIL, came from Germany, from Hitler. They were looking for the Vril, which apparently goes in your eye and into your brain and then takes over your body. That was the Vril that they were looking for. I don't know if we're on the same.
No, that's the adrenochrome. That's something else. That the Vril is the universal life force. It's the energy in the void, the energy all around us that composes everything. It's a life force, the universal force energy. The Germans, the Nazis, were in contact with a malevolent alien species from Aldebaran, who gave them these technologies to help them becoming powerful, because they saw the potential to develop some aggressivity and to use this aggressivity and this nastiness that the Nazi state was starting to develop to do stuff together. So that's another story again. But Frill is the universal life force. That's how they call it. I write it PHRYLL. That's how the word came to my mind. But you know, the way we write things, it's just phonetically how we can interpret what we hear. You know, I've had interesting discussions with Alex Collier because we have the same information, we have the same sources, so we have both heard about the same races, the same names, the same places, and we write it differently, but we pronounce it, we heard it the same, and it's very interesting. It's very funny to compare, you know. So that's what these ETs, these galactic beings, with a consciousness more open than us believe in. They have no religious structure above us. Yeah.
What are your beliefs about religion?
So basically, so just for people that know, and they'll read the book, they'll learn more. You were abducted. They try to implant something in your brain. It was stopped by someone, and then someone else tried to remove it, and then this person said she couldn't remove it, and in turn they said, okay, change the frequency, and this would be thorian, correct? Is that the right name?
Yes, absolutely. Thoran.
Okay. Now,
Thoran, yes.
Now you have the ability, or he has the ability, to contact you, I guess subconsciously without. Are you able to call upon him, or he just comes when he wants?
He used to come when he wanted, but since I did this quantum hypnosis session, now that I knew everything, and he taught me how to do that, how to activate this connection. So I am able now to connect with him. If he's not available, he doesn't want to talk to me, because that happens. It's when he's involved in operations, he doesn't want me to know. It just blocks, and I know I'm not insisting. Yeah. Or sometimes I don't want to receive the connection. It may seem foolish to say that, but I do.
Yeah, I was curious if you had the ability, to, lack of a better word, call out, and I had to call in, and you know,
yes, we're using this device.
Does he teach you anything? Does he talk about it? Does he basically, is he enlightening you to anything beyond what we know?
All of that stuff.
Oh, yes.
But Mikey, this book has all of the pictures. She's drawn every picture of every alien in the race and where they come from and whether or not they're good or bad. It's fascinating. Now, apparently this is all given to you from Thorion.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Sometimes some of his friends have helped me a bit for this book when he wasn't available, because this book have been written and drawings and everything in 4 months only, because my life was at risk at the time I was making this book. I even received a second implant in my body to protect me, a second one with my consent, and that I saw them doing that. It was quite amazing. The guy, the alien deity, he really beamed in my bedroom, and he asked me, do you want me to do that? I will advise that you protect it's another monitor of a higher technology, and this is a better one than one you have you use for communication. This one will really, really protect you and shield you. And I say, oh yes, it won't hurt.
She got the
no,
2.0.
It won't hurt. Yes. So I got another one.
I guess the obvious question is, when he contacts you, is it in French?
It used to be in French, and no, I hear it in English now. Sometimes it's in French, but it's in English. And because I decided, he speaks 127 languages, I think, not all from Earth. So he makes me choose in which language we want to talk. So at the moment it's English, because, well, since 10 years I'm living in Ireland, and English is the way.
As far as you know, they don't speak every language in the world.
No, 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 no. They could, but not interested. Not interested.
You know what's really interesting? What would have happened if those little grays completed their task and had that implant put in your head for another reason? What would your life would have been like before the intervention of Thorhan? What would you be? Would you be being controlled by them? Would you be taken off? Would you have been sold as cattle and money, currency? What would happen to you? What do you think would happen, or do you know?
Yes, I've had this discussion with him. I was taken for genetic material, genetic experiment. So I wouldn't have been taken for slave or for traffic, for trade. You prefer to be taken for genetic agendas, honestly, even if it's not fun. I would have been taken and taken again to breed hybrid babies all my life until menopause, and that was it. And the tracker was just a health monitor, GPS as well. That's all. That's what would have become of me. Yeah.
How evil! Just think of Mike. Think about how evil this is. I mean, in the existence of taking somebody's body and utilizing them for your own good. I mean, it's almost like today somebody being raped, but it's consistent.
Yeah, but it is similar. Well, they did that to me. I was 9. I mean, and that's why Thorhan removed this memory from my head. Well, they don't really remove the memory. They disconnect the connections of the memory, so it can be retrieved by hypnosis or meditation if you're very skilled. So as I was able to remember that, and that I understood why he preferred to hide it from me, because what they did to me, to this little girl of 9 years old, was properly horrible. You know, they're like, it's a factory. It's like machines. They take so many people in one night. They have to go very quick, and they're very mechanic. That's why they use clones. They have one task each. And yeah, and I don't have children. I could never have children because of that. They really wrecked me inside. When I woke up the following morning at that night when I was 9, well, all the details on the book is not very funny. I was bleeding everywhere, and I was brought to hospital for 2 months, and nobody knew what I had.
Do you, if you know, or you don't know, do you know if these other, maybe the Greys or whoever it is, do they have a lifespan? Do they die?
The clones, they can live indefinitely because they are just suits, if you want, synthetic suits, and they animate these suits with basic AI consciousness, so that can last forever, And if the suit is damaged or like not killed, because that's not really life, they do another one. They make another one. Now the Greys, they live well. I was impressed when Thorhan started to tell me about all these races involved with Earth. They all live so long, like even the smallest, the shortest, lifespan, it's like 200-300 years. And I asked him, why Earthlings, why we don't live that long? I mean, for us to live 100 years, it's an exception. It's like a miracle. And he was, because you've been altered, your DNA has been altered, that you remain in a short lifespan, that you don't evolve in consciousness, and you remain just cattle and slave. They don't want you to grow up in wisdom, and so that we've been altered, and we are reclaiming our heritage, and it's everything I say, I know it's horrible, but it's soon over. It's ending. I promise you, it's ending. That's the last. My generation is it's the last ones.
My mind's blown up here. All right. So when you say
sorry.
that, it's fascinating to hear what you just said. But wait a minute, you said that it's ending. So is that what the great reset that we're going through right now perhaps is? Is that, because you keep hearing this great reset's going on? Is that exactly what's being moved in? Because I thought this new reset was actually a nefarious thing and not a good one.
It's not a good plan. The Great Reset. The Great Reset is a plan to assimilate humanity and get rid of our will of trying to escape. I would call it the Great Awakening. This is an evolution, natural evolution, which is greatly helped by our good allies. We are reclaiming our sovereignty. We are waking up. We are activating. We are waking up to who we truly are. And we wake up and we realize that everything around us has been manipulation and lies since so long. And there's a sentence I often say is that we are the disclosure. The people. Anyone who has had, like me, experiences, who has a little bit of knowledge, who has truly lived through experiences, it is our duty to speak. Now we are so many abductees, so many, and we know so much. Everybody knows their little story. But when all the little stories come together, it's a great disclosure. And I always encourage people to speak and tell. Don't be afraid. Times are changing. You are not judged anymore. You are less and less judged as crazy. 20 years ago, this couldn't happen, but now you can speak. Now it's the time we need to speak and tell our stories and tell what happened to all of us who have been abducted, who have been murdered. We need to speak to each other and tell the world what happened to us, and all the stories match and come together, and it is breaking the lies. And these alliance with the Orion groups, the reptilian groups, and the malevolent, regressive parts of some governments, they are panicking because humanity is waking up. So they are trying to push their last cards to bind us down in ignorance and obedience, trying to frighten us. I'm often told that fear is the tool used to take the power away from the people, from the free will. When you're in fear, you do whatever you are told to so that's it. But it's not really working. So yeah, they tell me that it's in a good way. It's a war. There's a war, the last war, the last chance to get out of this. But it's apparently in a good way. I don't know a lot about this because Thorhan keeps me safe. He's very wary for my safety. So he knows that if he tells me about operations or things like that, I would be in danger. So
Does Thorin visit? Do you see him ever, or you can only talk to him? I mean, are you able to see him?
Yeah. Yes, I see him times.
Has he been to Earth, or you had to go someplace else?
He has been very rarely to Earth. He beamed down maybe 4 times since I've known him, but I'm taken on this ship regularly. Yeah, not since a while because it's dangerous now. So, yeah, we meet.
And then the question is why you?
Is it a physical travel, or is it a
Yes.
subconscious travel?
There has been physical travels for a long while. And recently, because it became dangerous, he showed me another way, which is not easy. It's a decorporation. He uses my energy, my light body, my soul, my light body. It beams it up out of my physical body, and when it reaches destination, there's an energy field that is used on his ship that redensifies the particles of my body. So it changes the frequency between the particles of my light body. It's not the right word. And I'm physical. I'm physically there. Then it redensifies me in a physical way. It is temporary. This is maintained by the force field. So it can last 2 to 3 hours. I think 3 hours is the longest I've been there. Then it could harm me or disrupt my something in me. I don't know, my energies, my being. I don't know.
It sounds like an out of body experience. It sounds like an out of body experience that becomes physical.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
So
but the physical.
But why you? I was just thinking before. Why you? Do you ever stop and think, so why is it that I was lucky enough to have this all happen to me?
Yeah, I was lucky, and there are other people like me. I received tons of emails and people telling me that they've been rescued as well, and we're exchanging experience, and it's extremely similar. Well, I was lucky, but I'm not the only one. These people from the Galactic Federation, they work very, very hard at rescuing people. They do their best to rescue people. They rescue a lot of people. The thing is that they remove the memory. They hide the memory because it's not yet time of their great disclosure, because we're not ready. They don't want to cause chaos. It's the last thing they want now. The last thing we need is chaos. We are not able to cope with that at the moment. It will cause chaos. So they're waiting.
You know what's amazing? I was thinking, because there's two points here. The first one is you keep hearing that the government's going to perhaps do this thing where they're going to have like aliens invading the Earth or something like that, and they're going to try to do a false flag with this alien invasion, and then we all have to get together, and the government will say, we need all as humans get together to fight this force. That's this false flag. Yeah. The other option that I'm thinking as you're saying all of this is basically what you're explaining is that we live in a prison planet. We are basically in a prison and being utilized and used for others and not being made aware of it, because if we really knew the implications of what was going on, we couldn't live with it. Am I right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Imagine if all of this was openly known. This would be unbearable. We would try to rebel, of course, but what can we do against them? They're so powerful. We cannot rebel. The governments themselves, they're so powerful. Interestingly, a person to contact with me, a retired military from Area 51, and he told me things because it matches what he lived and he saw there. Match totally, and all the names and the symbols, the insignias, everything with what I'm writing in my book. So we exchanged a lot, and I interviewed him, and unfortunately he died 4 days after the interview. But that's another story. But he was saying that in Area 51, the U.S. military are working with alien greys, 3 races of greys. And they are terrified of them. They are like caught. They don't know how to get off this nightmare. They are scared, and the aliens just ruling the place. And he was there in the 1980s, so I suppose things may have changed since. But in the 1980s, this man was working there and describing 3 races that I describe in my book, and exactly the same. And we had amazing conversations. And the U.S. militaries, they were at the time, they were totally paralyzed and petrified by these beings. Imagine, why wouldn't be terrified? You know, it's frightening.
You know, Elena, I have to bring this up, and I'm not being derogatory or even suggesting anything you're saying is not true. But what would you say to people? Because you know, and you've been through this, so there's got to be people that say, "Oh, come on, lady, come on! What are you smoking crack?" And you know, what do you say to these doubters? What do you say? I'm sorry to bring that. I have to say.
Yes. Oh, of course. But it's a very good question because it's a necessary question. I say it's all right. It's okay enough to believe me. Your path of evolution of consciousness goes through not believing me. It is all right. You're entitled not to believe me. I am just telling a story, and who resonates with it believes me, and it is fine. It's everyone's his path, and you can tell I'm smoking. I'm fine with that. I'm laughing. It's funny. No, so it's fine. I'm fine with that.
I'm curious. Has Laurent shared with you the mystery of death? When we die, what happens?
Mm-hmm.
Great question, Sausage.
Has he shared that with you?
Yes, we leave these temporary avatar bodies, and we go back to. So each planet has its soul matrix. We would call it, for instance, the limbos, or I don't know, or heaven, or I don't know. Not very knowledgeable in the religious matters, but it's a soul matrix. It's like a higher density sphere. It's like layers of an onion, you know. And we reach this place. He showed it to me once. It's an amazing, beautiful place. It's like the heavens described, you know. It's beautiful, full of colors and nature. It's a different density, and we are here, and we can choose either to come back to a new incarnation, to perform a mission or learn or whatever we want to do, or if we think we've learned enough, we can go to a higher plane and higher density. And I don't know, then it didn't show me what's after, but at the end it's melting into source, the high consciousness,
but do those aliens still have access? Do the evil aliens still have access to us in those higher dimensions?
Not ours, because not these ones. The greys and reptilians, they are of a reptiloid nature, and their soul matrix is of a lower density than ours, so they cannot interfere with it. And that's a good question, because they are trying to hack it. They are trying. The reptilians, they are working hard on trying to crack up the codes and of the human soul. They're trying to find its secrets, and they still, touch wood, thank God, they still haven't found out.
I have two questions, and I'm trying to keep them in my head, because I looked at a website many years ago, and it was called don'tgointothelight.com, I believe. I think it was called. So saying that when you die, there's people see a light. And when they go to light, most people say when you die and you go into the light, you're going back to God, to the source. You're going into the light, and then you go to this, like you're saying, ascend to different levels of consciousness or the source, right? Okay. But this website said, don't go into the light. If you see the light, don't go in, because that light is actually an alien ship that will take your soul and regurgitate you and then put you back out into the human form again to become this cyclical circle of life. What is your thoughts about that?
I believe this can happen. I believe this can totally happen. They can try to trap souls to use them. Oh yeah. I speak about that in my book. It's not a very joyful subject, but the reptilians perform something that is called soul scalping. They they abduct people and they scrape the soul out of the bodies.
Wow.
And they use this soul, they study it, they keep it in a container, and they use it. Either the soul is going to have holographic experience, they think they are somewhere, living somewhere, but they're in fact like in the movie The Matrix. Or either this soul is put into another or reptilian body, or they do experiments, with that. I don't exactly know what they do, but that's the few I know. I didn't want to know more. I was already sick hearing all these things at the time I was writing this book, and it's so bad vibrations. Other people may want to dig a bit more with that, but I've done my bit with it. It's a lot.
Mike, I mean, just, I just want to comprehend this, and I kind of, and innately on some level, I think I kind of know what she's talking about. Like innately, I feel like there's something, we all know something's going on here, and you're not really sure to put your finger on it. And then when you hear stuff like this, you're like, well, maybe so. The planet we live in does, people say, oh, you can make beauty or love or happiness or hate, and it's your intentions and what you put out in the world. But there seems to be some sort of a cabal or an evilness or something that runs through concurrently from the top down to manipulate and push people to gain and for money and success and fame and not necessarily all about life affirming things. And it's almost like we're training grounds is to make us not what we should be. I'm looking for the word. Yes. It's hard to, but innately I kind of understand. I think it's kind of I think you kind of know it and you don't put attention on it, if you will.
Of course, you if you are open and without judgment, then you start to listen to the little voice inside, and that's what I teach to people. Go within, connect with yourself. If you manage to connect with who you truly are in your heart, without judgment, without describing or commenting everything you feel, and just accept what you feel and who you are. If you connect really with who you are, and you are this being of light inside of this body, you connect with everything. You connect with the knowledge that is universal. You connect with everything, and you can access everything and understand everything without being able maybe to put human English language words on it. But your consciousness, your heart understand concepts. It's a language that is beyond words. That's so more richer, than words.
How, and is that the way that we raise our is that the way we raise our energy, is through just going inside, meditating? Is that it?
Yes.
Is that the way to do it? Yes.
Yes, and refusing lower frequencies who lock us down, like fear, for instance. Fear and confusion. Fear is absolutely terrible. That's the tool used to lock us, to stop us, to connect with our higher selves, I could say. And then you just cut yourself from the field outside, and you just connect with yourself. Who are you? Close your eyes, relax, forget about this body, relax the avatar body at a point where you don't feel it anymore because it's so relaxed. Breathing exercise can help, and then you focus your attention to who's inside this body. How do you look like? And gather your consciousness within the chest, the heart chakra, and stay there for a while. And if you manage to only be there and now in this place and be this being, you've done it. You've done it. You're connected to a higher frequency, because this being is a higher frequency than this body and than everything around you. And when you connect to this body, to the frequency of this body, you can get out of the matrix. You can connect to anything else. You're free. You are free. And connect with
So
anything.
your message, that is the message then today, is for us all to get out of our own way and connect with your inner source. Correct? Yeah. You know, we're running out of time, and I have to tell you, I really want you to come back. Come back.
Thank you.
We still would like to talk to you about being a shaman, helping other people, how you do it through your service as a shaman. And I like to understand what a shaman is, and I'd really like to get more into that as well. But there's still so much more to unpack here with your book. I have to encourage everyone. I've read this book cover to cover, and it is enlightening and frightening at the same time. And the best part, after this unbelievable story, is these illustrations of hundreds of illustrations of different aliens from different planets that actually, where they come from, whether they're good or bad, and their agenda. It's just fascinating to read. It's a pleasure, it really is. Where can we find you, Elena?
You can follow my YouTube channel, Elena Danaan, where I put all my videos and updates and spiritual guidance. I do a lot of Q&As, so it is a very helpful place. My website that you can see scrolling, thank you, elenadanaan.org, not .org. And you can find a link to my books, author, my workshops, the workshops I give. I used to do rune readings. I stopped for the moment. That's my books. I've written some novels in French. I do art. So you have everything on this website, and where to buy my book, A Gift from the Stars.
Such a peaceful woman. Can't you tell she's very peaceful? I just find like very peaceful, like very very nice. It's so nice. Well, thank you so much.
It is 3 o'clock in the morning where she is, so
she's not peaceful. She's very tired.
Well, maybe yes. Thank you. Yeah, with my pleasure. With pleasure, of course. With pleasure.
Really appreciate it. Thank you. All right,
if that don't make you want to read the book, I don't know what will.
I tell you, I'm into it. I'm supportive of this. You guys like this show today? Please go to her website and smash the like button, subscribe, and let people know. We appreciate it. Sausage, we'll see you. I'm going to go meditate right now. I'm going to go like this.
I'm meditating already. See you, my boy. Take
care. See you later. Thank you, Leland. Thank you, our booker, John Galasso, with his wonderful book. You go.
You can stop.
Ciao, guys.